giving your allegiance to a particular country is part of Islam. I mean, this is an unfortunate situation for the Ummah, really. Now, it is important to discuss this topic because these dangerous concepts, the concepts that I just spoke about, like nationalism, patriotism, or giving adherence, or giving your allegiance to the nation states, are direct and immediate obstacles in the establishment of the Khilafah. Today, I am not going to discuss the values of any nation. I am not going to discuss secularism. I'm not going to discuss democracy. Not because these things are not important, but because we really want to look at this idea from a different angle. We want to look at this idea, we want to look at these concepts from the point of view that gives rise to this. That means something that underpins these ideas. Why are these ideas in the Ummah in the first place? Right? And these ideas are in the Ummah in the first place because of the existence of the nation states today. Right? Hence, we want to look into what is a nation state. We see, when I want to make it clear, when I say nation state, I'm trying to say about the countries today, right? Countries with fixed borders, where people of its particular citizen are have a national identity and things. So that is what I'm referring to, a nation state. Now, there is a basic mindset behind nation states. Now, the nation state, how do we define nation state? How do we define a nation in terms of its boundaries? It's arbitrary. There is no golden rule to it, right? We just make boundaries randomly, or in other words, I must say that the people just sit and draw boundaries according to their will. That becomes a nation, right? Nations are defined according to either race or geography, or race and geography. Just because people happen to belong to a certain race, or people happen to be living in a certain area, they become one nation somehow in a nation state. And this thing gives rise to a superiority complex and makes people of that particular place believe that they are inherently superior to other races or nations. So what I'm trying to say here is the people who live in this nation state, they are somehow being filled with, when they're filled with nationalism and patriotism, they start believing that they're somehow superior. They have got somehow higher rights over others, so they can somehow be better than others. And in terms like in Australia or America, we see that it is as if Australian blood or American blood is much more important than an Afghan blood or an Iraqi blood. Hence, when few people in America dies, it gives a justification to attack a complete land just because they think they are superior. Same goes with every nation in this world. Every nation in this world is built upon such principles. These are the basic mindsets behind any nation. Now let us look at the structural foundation of a nation state. A nation state stands on three pillars: sovereignty, territorial integrity, and balance of power. Sovereignty: by giving sovereignty to a nation, the internal disputes are settled. And sorry, I think there is some technical problem. I just wanted to know if my voice is clear, if I can be heard. Okay, Jazakallah. So I'll come back. I'll start again. Nation state is based on three pillars. Any nation state is based on three pillars. This was the whole idea of building a nation state. Now, the three pillars that a nation state stands upon are sovereignty, territorial integrity, and balance of power. Now, let's quickly look into what these things mean. Sovereignty was the idea, is something given to a nation so that the internal disputes are settled, such as claims to power. It is used to maintain peace internally. and everyone obeying one sovereign authority that has the right to legislate laws. Now, by doing these, it means that people have the authority within a nation, so that they can elect someone to rule, and the person who is elected to rule has the right to legislate the laws. This is what sovereignty really means, according to the concept of nation state. Then the second pillar it stands on is territorial integrity. Now, this is the idea that is supposed to consolidate the notion of territorial sovereignty. What I mean by this is respecting the borders, like one nation, no nation should get itself involved in the internal affairs of the other nation. Whatever happens in other nations, the other nations should not involve. They should respect the borders. They should respect the internal affairs. Whatever a country decides to do within its territory, it has got the right to do that. This was the second pillar. And then the third pillar is balance of power. This idea was designed to eliminate external conflicts, as all nations would collectively stand against an individual expansionist troublesome state. This means, in reality, if if a nation if to a nation another nation wants to attack its borders, wants to come into it, this was supposed to be an idea where all the other countries will come together and repel the occupation, right? So sovereignty, territorial integrity, and balance of power. And this was supposed to create unprecedented peace at the international level. I mean, according to this, we should have been living in an ideal world where there are no disputes, no one's fighting with another country, no one is meddling in the affairs of other country. But what did this do in reality? What did this do? Two major things. This has divided people, and this has created so many conflicts in the world today. Now, why do I say that? I say divided people because this divided people based on race and geography. This made people believe that one is superior to another and created something called as xenophobia. Xenophobia is fear of hatred of xenophobia is fear or hatred of foreigners. Hence, this idea was inherently divisive. The idea of drawing lines between the people and making them believe just because of these lines, you are someone else and I am someone else. This idea is inherently divisive. This has divided the humanity. Now, this has caused more conflicts. In terms of this, caused a lot of border disputes. We see everywhere in the world, whichever country we look at, too many lives, innocent lives, were lost in the creation of these fixed borders, and this continues even today. People argue over this is my territory, that is my territory, this should be part of my border, that should be part of their border. So these things are continuing and will continue so long as we have nation states. Now the second thing is racism prevailed as well. What do I mean by that? That people are discriminated based on race, color, geography, and religion. You go to America, they see you as someone from Indonesia. You go to UK, they see you as someone from India. Um, so this really divided the people. This discriminates the people based on race, geography, color, and religion. People of certain ethnic backgrounds do not get certain things in certain countries. I don't want to be specific here, but obviously there are things where people are discriminated. Now, because the national interest of any country supersedes the international interest, all the nations want their interest first, want to put their nation first. Now, this causes conflicts between nations. And we see the living examples of today. We see like the climate change, the nuclear non-proliferation treaties, and these in fact are the refugee problem. These are the best examples of today. Now, when we look at climate change, every country wants the other country to do more. No one wants to do it selfless, because if you stop your production, if you do something about it, you're afraid that other country will overtake you. So here, all you're doing is putting your national interest first. Similar with the refugee problem. No one, although I must say the developed countries have gone into the gone into the third world and have usurped their resources, but when the people turn around to these countries to live here, they say you are a refugee, you are someone else. I mean, they're not treated as humans. Now, hence, we can say that this idea is structurally flawed. This idea is structurally flawed as well. Strong nations have always oppressed the weaker nations without any impunity for multiple reasons. Control of control of resources, control over the area, control over the economy, and all other national benefits. We have seen this. We have seen this in the colonization of the Muslim world and the other and all the other third world countries. That when the British or the Portuguese they colonized this world, they took everything of the resources from these countries. In fact, we can say in this case, and even today we see America and the NATO attacking the weaker nations. They, in fact, I can say, discussed the balance of power a little while ago. I can say that this idea of balance of power, in fact, worked in the other way when it came to the execution of the plan, when it came to the implementation of what was originally said. So instead of a nation being protected by everyone else, now a nation is being attacked by everyone else, especially the powerful nation, what, for their personal interest, for their national interest. Hence, at this point, I'm comfortable to say that the notion of the modern nation state is in fact the source of many world's problems instead of being a solution. All the global problems like climate change, refugee problem, unjust wars cannot be solved so long as we continue to organize things around the concept of nation states. All the claims to greatness have proved to be hollow rhetoric here. This, they say, what I mean by this is that when they've said that, this is such a good idea, we organize ourselves and we develop the world. No, this is purely proved to be hollow rhetoric in this case. And in reality, these are the ideas that underpin the National Day celebrations, the national anthems, national flags, or national identities. Now, at this point of time, it is the right time to ask ourselves a question: should we ever be involved in such celebrations? Should we ever be involved in in somehow proving a nation's superiority, because it is based on a concept which is structurally flawed, which is inherently divisive, which is intellectually bankrupt. No, this is something actually we should condemn. In reality, this is something we should condemn. Okay, now we see that we are in this situation. What is the alternative? Do we have one? Do we have a way forward? As Muslims, do we have something to give to the world? See, as Muslims, always what we do is when we incur something, we turn to Islam, because we know Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said in the Quran, "Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam." He said, "This day I have perfected my religion and have completed my favors upon you, and have chosen Islam as a way of life for you." So hence, when we encounter a situation, we turn to Islam for solutions. Now, when we look at Islam, when we look into this thing, how Islam tells us to